Welcome back to Joe Louis Arena in downtown Detroit, Michigan. Game 1 of the 1998 Stanley Cup Finals. Goaltending, Mick, is always a key factor. This guy has been better than anybody goaltending in the playoffs this year.
He's had a history in his minor league days of being a little bit of a short fuse, but he seems to have settled down. He's the #1 guy, and Chris Osgood come under a little fire for a couple of goals that went in on him from the center ice red line. But boy, he settled down and shut out Dallas in Game 6, and he is a battler.
Well, just like the best teams make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, the NHL brings the best of the officials here as well. Bill McCreary will be the referee for Game 1. Ray Scampanello and Dan Shakty are the linesmen. And we are ready to go. The Red Wings will start off with that big line of Fedorov, Shanahan, and Yzerman. And the captain of the Washington Capitals, Dale Hunter, who missed the playoffs last year for the first time in his career, now gets a chance to play for the Stanley Cup. He was asked this morning in the dressing room about completing the dream. He said, yes, it's a dream to get here, but the dream will not be complete unless we win this series.
Home ice coach has the last option to change. It'll be interesting to see if Scotty Bowman wants Fedorov, Yzerman, and Shanahan against the Hunter group, although Hunter is up there with a mixture of people. He's got, looks like Miller on the right side, and there'll be some changes probably.
We are underway here in the 1998 Finals as Yzerman trying to cut in off the left wing. Johansson knocked it away to the corner. Fedorov is there. Fedorov spinning away from some pressure. Dumps it to the front of the net. Kolzig may have gotten his left pad on it with Shanahan right at the top of the crease. Set up now for Yzerman. His shot was blocked and the Capitals break out to center ice. They move the puck very well with one pass. Probably as well as anybody that we have seen face the Detroit Red Wings. That play was offsides, and Brendan Shanahan has not been 100% healthy.
No, Brendan Shanahan doesn't seem to be at 100% physically. A lot of people speculating whether he's got a bad back or not. And Shanahan goes to the front of the net, took a pretty good two-hander for Joe Ricci, who's going to have to do that. Like Big Mark Tinordi on the defense for Ron Wilson, they'll need to go after the Red Wing players. They have a chance to keep away from the front of the net. They let them stand around, they're going to burn the Caps and Kolzig.
Fedorov line stays out there, and Ron Wilson comes with Oates, Bellows, and Juneau on the first line change for the Capitals. Here is Juneau along the board. Centering pass picked off by Yzerman. He'll clear it out to center ice. Tinordi rolls it across. It's taken there by Calle Johansson. Tipped ahead center ice, taken now by the veteran Brian Bellows, who played this season with a team over in Germany and was picked up by the Washington Capitals for the late season run and for his experience in the playoffs, and he has paid huge dividends for Ron Wilson's team already in these playoffs. As Lidstrom plays it ahead, Murphy clears the zone. Stepping up was Tinordi, and that play offside.
Well, usually in the first game of a Stanley Cup final, you get a team from the East and a team from the West. They don't see each other more than twice all year long in any season this day in the NHL. And a veteran guy like Igor Larionov will be looking at film with the assistant coaches and studying some of the players. Been around a long time and is pretty comfortable playing in any kind of situation. They call him the professor. He's a thinking man. He's a chess player. Plays it on all the flights that the team takes on their private plane all year long with guys like Shanahan, and most of the Red Wings now into the chess game.
Well, of course, there was a lot of emotional moments from the time the Red Wings won the Stanley Cup on June 8th of last year. And, of course, part of the emotional celebration was Larionov bringing the Stanley Cup back to Voskresenska's hometown in Russia with Slava Kozlov and Fetisov, as Osgood handles the first long-range shot fired in by the Washington Capitals. Rouse plays it ahead, trying to get it into the Cap zone. That was blocked, recovered now by Draper. He took a fall there, and now Zednik played it ahead. That hit one of the linesmen. Caps do get it in deep. Lively boards here at Joe Louis Arena. Centering pass, a chance here. Osgood the stop. Loose puck ends up in the corner. Bob Rouse has it now for Detroit, and he'll slide it out to center ice. Aaron McCarty rolls it across. Maltby will not get there ahead of Sergei Gonchar. Joe Ricci tried to get it by Larionov, and now Bondra backhands it deep into the wing zone. Osgood plays it along, and McCowan will clear it out to center ice. And Phil Housley chases it back inside the Capital zone. The Red Wings were the underdog last year and opened on the road against the Philadelphia Flyers. They are the favorites opening at home, Mick, against the Washington Capitals, and this Washington team has lost only 1 of 8 games on the road in these playoffs. That was Game 3 against the Ottawa Senators.
Until the Dallas series, the Red Wings struggled at home as well, but they finally got it together and won 2 games at home.
Osgood steering aside that Phil Housley shot. Capitals trying to get some pressure in the Detroit zone. It'll be recovered by Eriksson.
Pretty interesting, Dave, that the European line of Bondra and Zednik and Nikolishin came out and sort of set the pace for Washington physically, not the Hunter, Simon, and Berube line.
Marty Lapointe now will drive it for the wings behind Kozlov, who points for his defense to let him know where that puck is going. Both teams try to make changes now as the puck is sent back into the Detroit zone, and Fetisov back to get it. Bravo Fetisov being pressured by Berube, gets by that check. A backhand pass finds Holmstrom now. Holmstrom has Brown going to the front of the net. The pass deflected, nearly picked up by Kocur, who was trailing the play. And the puck is back into the Washington zone, offside. We have played just over 3 minutes of the first period of Game 1 of the 1998 Stanley Cup Finals. The Red Wings and the Capitals are scoreless. Olaf Kozlov has been outstanding, leading the National Hockey League goaltenders in many categories. For more on his story, let's go down to Nick Kyprios. Nick?
Guys, believe it or not, I was Olaf's first NHL roommate. And as an 18-year-old first rounder, he was given the backup role to Don Beaupre. Sure enough, a month and a half in, the poor guy was so homesick, he was begging to go back to junior. And you know, his road back to the NHL has been a tough one, but as Mick knows, adversity builds character, and Olaf Kozlov has shown a lot of that. Up to you guys.
Thanks, Nick. Well, hopefully it wasn't with his roommate that he wanted to go back to junior.
Yeah, right.
But it's a tough position, boy. Your last line of defense in the game of hockey, an awful lot of pressure. And a lot of goaltenders don't mature until they're up over 25 years old. Nice call against the Washington Capitals. And usually we get in the Stanley Cup final, I started to say earlier, teams not familiar with each other, only playing each other twice a year, one at home, one on the road. And they really feel each other out. And at the very least, the first 10 minutes of the first period, and then things open up. But so far, the Washington Capitals look like they're juggling a few lines around here.
Jeff Brown is in the lineup, his first appearance in the playoffs. He had a very scary situation earlier this year. He was cut by a skate blade while he was a member of the Carolina Hurricanes, was traded to Toronto, and apparently the infection became so bad the Toronto trainer recognized the potential danger of the flesh-eating bacteria that we've read so much about, that it could have been a threat to actually Jeff Brown losing his leg, or possibly even worse. They were able to correct it, and he is healthy and in the Stanley Cup Finals. And there's a first big stop for Olaf Kozlov off a faceoff in the Capital Zone. And that was on a faceoff win, and we'll be keeping track of faceoffs, a very important part of playoff hockey, especially the draws deep in either zone. And here's a careless pass by the Capitals, picked off by Shanahan. Shanahan, top of the circle, quick wrist shot, blocked by Gonchar, over the glass and out of play.
Now, Scotty Bowman so far has chosen to leave Fedorov, Shanahan, and Yzerman together. You never know with Scotty Bowman, and Sergei and his teammates are very familiar with everybody else on this team. They are interchangeable parts, and that's what makes the Detroit Red Wings such a valuable team and defending Stanley Cup champions. They can play with anybody on the team. They're used to it. It doesn't upset them. And Fedorov and Yzerman and Shanahan were only put together in the playoffs in Game 6 against Dallas.
It's amazing with all the talk there was when the Carolina Hurricanes made that huge offer. Remember, Sergei Fedorov held out, didn't feel he was being offered what he was worth on the open market. When the Red Wings matched that offer, of course, which included a $12 million bonus if the Red Wings reached the conference finals, which obviously they did, there hasn't been a whole lot of talk of it now that the Red Wings are here in the Stanley Cup Finals. It's just about Fedorov's performance and how he fits in with the team.
Yes, it was a lot of tough going through that whole thing, but isn't any question, when you got a guy with his ability, you're a different team without him in the lineup. He's an all-star.
Lapointe's pass intended for Larionov was knocked away by Fellows. Tied up in a couple of skates, picked up by Lapointe. He'll race in, gets off the snap shot, pulls it to save. And now Lapointe takes down the Washington defenseman. There's going to be a penalty here against Martin Lapointe, a tripping call from Bill McCreary. The Detroit coaches, Mick, feel the key against the Washington Capitals is to get in on the Caps' defense and put pressure on them. Don't dump it in. Try to carry it in. Use the speed and try to cycle the puck. And Lapointe got in deep and tried to keep the pressure here on Tinordi.
Well, Tinordi came around the side of the net looking to make a play up the boards. He had Kozlov there, but Lapointe did get his stick into big Tinordi's skates and knocked them down, took the feet out from underneath them. First penalty of the Stanley Cup Finals goes to number 20 for Detroit. And the Caps go to the power play. Sergei Gonchar, a key man on the Washington power play. He's got great speed, plays the right point, left-hand shot. There he is, and he's got that face protector for the jaw. He's got great speed, this guy. Jumps up into the play all the time.
He was talking to that about that mask this morning, and he said that really that the jawbone itself is fine, but the lower teeth that had to be wired back into the jawbone are still potentially too loose to take a direct hit, so he's going to keep that mask on for the rest of these finals and see what happens come next season. But the Washington Capitals have done well on their power play throughout these playoffs. 12 for 70 coming in. They were 5 for 33 in the series against the Buffalo Sabres. The thing with their special team statistics that you notice is that they have been shorthanded so many more times than they've had the power play, but still they've been able to win games and win series in spite of that difference. Here is Juno centering pass. Good defensive job in front by Nick Lidstrom to tie up the Washington player going for the front of the net. And the penalty killing of the Red Wings, which has been superb and has scored a league best 5 shorthanded goals, getting the job done in the first minute of this Marty Lapointe penalty. Here is Bondra. Bondra's pass was blocked. Rouse able to one-handed out through center ice.
Right there, an example of the Red Wings, how quickly they jump on you, even in a shorthanded situation. Their game plan is pressure the puck. They try to make you make a play before you're ready to make it, and you end up a lot of times making the wrong play.
Here's a steal by Zednik. Zednik hands it off. It goes back to the line to Gonchar. Gonchar straight away, drives the shot, deflected well wide of Osgood. Capitals stay on it though. Here is Bondra with it, rolls it back along the boards for Zednik. Zednik is checked by Rouse, pressured out along the board. Bondra there to try to help out. Puck comes free. Bondra picks it up, trying to get loose for the big shot. Maltby won't let him do it, and Kirk Maltby able to clear.
They love it here. See that kind of work by number 18, Kirk Maltby. Good speed, a grinder. He's an agitator. Speed really helped him there.
Here is Nikolishin in his first Stanley Cup playoffs and obviously his first final, and he has had a wonderful run so far as the Marty Lapointe penalty comes to an end. Here is Nikolishin looking to drop it back for Bondra, but couldn't get the pass back. And now Lidstrom will move it quickly for Brendan Shanahan. Shanahan works it ahead for Fedorov. Fedorov looking cross ice now for Yzerman. It bounced off the heel of his stick. And Tinordi works it back behind his own net for Calle Johansson. That puck somehow came free. They drop it to Lidstrom along the boards. Lidstrom being pressured. Able to work it to Fedorov. Fedorov centering attempt. Knocked away by Kolzig with a goal stick. Now it's played up the middle by the Capitals. It'll roll all the way down the ice. This will be an icing call on the touch-up by Lidstrom.
Now there's the big man from Sweden. He's up for a contract renewal. He's got one more year. It's going to be renewed probably this summer. He's going to get a ton of votes for the Norris Trophy, which represents the best defenseman in the National Hockey League. And Lidstrom now in his 7th year. He's 27 years old, and he is an absolutely marvelous hockey player. Another thinking man's player. Does a lot of things so easily. He doesn't do it with a lot of flair. He's quite a player.
Well, he led all NHL defensemen in scoring in the regular season. He has done it again in the playoffs. He leads all defensemen in playoff scoring, has scored at least 10 goals in 6 of his 7 NHL seasons, and always one of the top plus players in the league.
He does it so quietly, too.
At both ends of the ice. Here is Kocur trying to establish a position deep in the Capital zone. Well, the Caps able to work it to center ice as it's dumped by Kelly Miller in behind Osgood. Osgood will try to steer it back up the glass. Miller got a piece of it, but it's recovered now by Holmstrom. Slides it ahead for Kocur, who had trouble controlling, and now dumps it into the Capital zone. Kocur at center ice. Nose to nose there with Tinordi, who came up to challenge him.
They've fought before.
Eriksson banned on a pass attempt. Here is Tikkanen. He drops it back. Trying to get loose as Berube got a shot away, and a save made there by Osgood as the puck is cleared all the way back into the Capital zone.
Not a hard shot by Berube, but a quick one that almost fooled Osgood. He had to be sharp to make that save. A lot of times you just want to get the puck on the net. Doesn't matter how hard it is.
A steal by Rouse. Tried to send it back to Holmstrom. Here's Lapointe. He runs into Simon. Not many people can move Chris Simon when he has his mind on staying where he's at. Red Wings fire it deep into the Capital zone. Big hit along the boards by Joe Ricci, this time on Larionov. A steal by the Red Wings. Rouse a quick shot just wide. Here's Larionov against Gonchar. Centering pass. Knocked away by Berube. Here is Kozlov. Back to the point for Jamie McCowan. Puts it up on the glass. It rolls in behind Kolzig. Now Ricci trying to clear. It'll be intercepted by Larionov. First real sustained pressure by the Red Wings here in the period as they're trying to do what Barry Smith, the assistant coach, said they need to do. Get it in deep against this Washington defense.
You're on Hunter and Lapointe down behind the play, threatening each other. Now we get a whistle. We may have penalties or just an offside, it looks like. So still, no score in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals from Detroit.
Ron Wilson is the 11th head coach in the history of the Washington Capitals in his first year behind the bench, and his team has weathered the storm early. For more on that, let's go down to Nick Kyprios.
Yeah, you talk about weathering the storm. Washington, for the first 10 minutes, a feeling out process. You talked earlier about Detroit and Washington coming from different conferences and not knowing each other. Well, in 10 minutes, they're starting to get to know each other a little more. So I look for things to start opening up a little bit and seeing a few more scoring chances later on this period. Back up to you guys.
All right, thanks, Nick. Of course, I think back, Mick, as I hear those comments from Nick Kyprios about the New Jersey Devils and what they felt after 10 minutes in the first period of Game 1 in the 1995 Finals. They said, hey, we can play with this Detroit Red Wing team. We've heard so much about how great they are, how powerful they are, and there was some confidence gained even though there were no goals scored, and you have to wonder what this is doing for the confidence of the Washington Capitals.
Red Wings are a different team, though, than they were in 95. Because of that 95 blowout against New Jersey, they're a patient, mature team now.
Here is Murphy now into the zone. Larry Murphy slides it in front. Holzig had to steer it aside. It comes back to the line. Lidstrom is there. He is challenged by Oates as he dumps it in deep. Back behind the Capitals net. Red Wings again trying to get in and get some forechecking going. Juneau tries to clear the zone, and he just did get it by Sergei Fedorov. Lidstrom plays it ahead. It is backhanded by McCarty. Here comes Draper in after Johansson. Johansson moves it quickly. Juneau now trying to also move it quickly. Successful in getting the puck back into the Detroit zone. McCowan sends it ahead now for Kirk Maltby. Got it by Juneau, and Gonchar now for the Capitals. Moves it to Nikolishin. Out to center ice. McCarty takes over for Detroit. He'll lift it back into the Capital zone. We are approaching the halfway mark of the first period of Game 1. Capitals unofficially with 4 shots on goal. The Red Wings with only 3, but neither goaltender really tested severely yet. That puck bounces away from Bob Rouse out to center ice. And back come the Capitals now. Here is Gonchar, top of the circle. Centering pass there to side by Osgood. Now Zednik with it. Zednik tried to cut in front. It's knocked away by Maltby and cleared back as the linesmen wave off the icing. Sergei Gonchar picks up the loose puck.
Maltby ran at him twice already with that mask on. They will not respect that mask of Sergei Gonchar, so he better be ready to be run at, although they keep the elbows and the sticks down. He'll be jarring those fillings of his with that mask on and those sore teeth.
Eriksson, nearly a giveaway there. The Capitals actually did get a stick on it to keep it deep in the Detroit zone. Now coming over to help out is Eriksson. That's Mike Eagles, number 36. A tenacious forechecker in his own right for the Washington Capitals. Kozlov for Detroit, able to bounce it back the other way. Tinordi chasing after it. And that's a 2-line pass that came out of the Washington zone over the blue line and the red line. As you look at Kirk Maltby, you think of him as a fixture, and yet he came to this Red Wing team late in the 95-96 season, just before that playoff run that ended against Colorado.
Yes, he did. And last year, he only had 3 goals during the season and then had 5 in the playoffs and some big ones. This kid was a 50-goal scorer in Owen Sound, Ontario, Canada in junior, but he's become a checker at the NHL level. He's a disturber. He'll go after you. Here he goes after Sergei Gonchar. No respect for that mask. He'll run him, and Gonchar knows that. So if he's not prepared for that, it could be a long series for Sergei Gonchar.
9 minutes straight up left here in the first period. As Eriksson tried to put it into the Cap zone, but that's deflected, I believe. Yes, over the glass and out of play. Well, the defending Stanley Cup champions are playing on even terms with the Washington Capitals. 8:53 to go in the first period of Game 1. Ron Wilson's Washington Capitals started the season quick, winning 7 of their first 8 games, and they have been playing well late in the season and in these playoffs. Let's go down to Nick Kyprios. Nick?
Guys, we're talking about Michael Pavanka, probably one of the purest athletes I have had a chance to play with. Whether you're talking about tennis or soccer, Michael Pavanka is one of the best. His body fat's at about 4.5, and you got to know that guy's hurting for him not to be playing in the Stanley Cup Finals. No one has more seniority than Michael Pavanka, serving the Washington Capitals since 1984. Back up to you guys.
Batistov, thank you, Nick. And certainly Michael Babanka, if he is healthy, we would expect to see him in this series. Has been a valuable member of the Washington Capitals for many years, and a guy that can